There is an island on this earth that looks like it was designed by someone who had never visited our planet. Its trees don't grow upward. They grow outward, like giant umbrellas frozen in time. Its sand dunes are white as chalk. Its sky meets turquoise water so clear you can see 20 feet to the seafloor. And yet, almost nobody has heard of it. This place is real. It exists right now, today, and it is called Socotra. Welcome to Atlas Roma. Today, we go somewhere most people will never know exists. Socotra sits in the Arabian Sea, roughly 240 kilometers east of the Horn of Africa, and about 380 kilometers south of the Arabian Peninsula. It is technically part of Yemen, one of the most conflict-ridden countries on Earth, and yet the island itself has remained remarkably isolated from the war on the mainland. That isolation isn't new. Socotra has always been cut off, not by politics, but by nature. For 6 months of every year, the summer monsoon creates winds so violent that no boat can land on the island. No planes, no ships, nothing in, nothing out. The Soqotri people who have lived there for over 2,000 years developed their own language, one that was never written down, precisely because nobody was coming to write it for them. Think about what that means for a moment. An entire people, with their own spoken language, their own oral traditions, their own relationship to the natural world, preserved in amber by the very weather that surrounded them. That is Socotra. But the story of Socotra's strangeness goes back much, much further than its people. Its origins are written not in human history, but in the deep time of geology and evolution. Around 20 million years ago, Socotra broke away from the Arabian Peninsula, the same geological rupture that created the Gulf of Aden. That moment of separation was the beginning of something extraordinary. This isolation acted as a natural laboratory. Cut off from the rest of life on Earth, plants and animals on this island began to evolve on their own terms, developing forms that exist nowhere else in the world. Today, 37% of Socotra's plant species are endemic, meaning they grow nowhere else on the planet. For context, even the famous Galápagos Islands have a lower rate of plant endemism. Socotra is a true treasure trove of unique biodiversity. The icon of this isolation is the dragon blood tree. From a distance, it looks like an inside-out umbrella planted in the ground, its dense branches creating a surreal silhouette against the sky. Its canopy spreads flat, like a disc, because this shape evolved specifically to catch the moisture from Socotra's fog, rather than direct rainfall, channeling every precious drop down to its roots. When you cut its bark, the tree bleeds a deep, vivid red sap. For centuries, traders along the ancient Silk Road prized this sap, considering it more valuable than gold. Arab, Greek, and Roman merchants knew this island as the island of bliss. The dragon blood tree is only the beginning. Socotra is home to the desert rose, a tree that looks, with no exaggeration, like it was drawn by a child who misunderstood how trees work. It grows directly out of bare rock, storing water in a swollen, bulbous trunk that can swell to the size of a small car. Its branches end in tight clusters of pink flowers that seem almost comically at odds with the barren landscape they emerge from. The island's wildlife tells the same story of separation. The Socotra chameleon lives here and only here, the Socotra starling and the Socotra grosbeak. Even Socotra's gecko species have evolved independently from their mainland cousins. Scientists who study this island sometimes call it the Galápagos of the Indian Ocean. But honestly, that comparison may undersell it. In 2008, UNESCO agrees that Socotra was designated a World Heritage Site, specifically for its outstanding universal value as a biodiversity hotspot. It is one of the most important living laboratories on Earth, and almost nobody you know has ever heard of it. The Soqotri people are one of the island's most remarkable features, and one of its most fragile. Their unique culture, forged in isolation over millennia, now faces unprecedented challenges from the outside world. Their language, Soqotri, is an ancient South Semitic language, related distantly to Arabic and Hebrew, but mutually unintelligible with either. For most of its history, it existed only as a spoken language, a living oral tradition passed down through intricate poetry, song, and story. A written script was only recently developed, and efforts to document the language are now a matter of extreme urgency. Younger generations are increasingly adopting Arabic under the influence of mainland Yemen and satellite television, threatening to silence this ancient tongue forever. The traditional Soqotri way of life, a delicate balance of herding cattle and goats across the island's limestone plateaus, fishing the surrounding reefs, and harvesting dragon blood resin, is being displaced. The modern world has arrived in the form of tourism, aid economics, and the ever-present effects of a civil war that has now lasted for over a decade just miles away on the mainland. Socotra has been caught between competing powers in recent years. The UAE established a significant presence on the island, drawing protests from the Yemeni government. The island's unique position, sitting astride key global shipping lanes, has made it strategically valuable in ways its people never asked for. The islanders, who spent 20 million years in productive isolation, now find that the world, with all its complexities and conflicts, has finally arrived at their door. This is the question that most travel content would avoid, and it's the one worth asking honestly. So, can you actually visit Socotra? The short answer is yes. Socotra is technically open to tourism. A small number of specialized tour operators run expeditions to the island, typically accessed via Oman, a flight from Muscat to Socotra's airport, which has been upgraded in recent years, partly by Emirati investment. Visitors camp under the dragon blood trees. They kayak the bays. They photograph the white dunes of Archer at golden hour. By every account from those who make the journey, it is one of the most overwhelming natural experiences available to any human being alive right now. But the context matters immensely. Yemen is in the middle of a humanitarian catastrophe. The ethics of tourism to a geopolitically contested island in a country at war are not simple. There are no easy answers. At the same time, responsible tourism dollars directed to local guides and Soqotri-owned operators can represent one of the few meaningful economic options available to islanders who are not yet party to the conflict. What is not in question is this: Socotra exists. It is real, it is extraordinary, and it may not look the same in 20 years. Climate change is already altering the monsoon patterns that shaped its evolution over millennia. The iconic dragon blood trees are under stress, with little new growth to replace the ancient giants. The coral reefs that made its waters famous are bleaching. Socotra is one of thousands of places on this planet that most people will never know about. Places with deep histories, extraordinary landscapes, and living cultures that deserve to be understood, not just photographed. That's what this channel is here for. Every week on Atlas Roma, we go somewhere the algorithm forgets about. If this is the kind of content you've been looking for, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment telling me the most unknown place you've ever been. Until next time, friends, keep exploring the uncharted.